about albums changing, or changing your mind about albums, the album we're going to review tonight is by the Notwist. It came out in 2003 in the U.S. It's called Neon Golden. This is an album that the first time I listened to it, Tom and his older brother Pat sat me down. We were playing Settlers, and and he showed me Neon Golden, and I was like, oh, I'll download it. So I got a copy and listened to it, and hated it the first time I listened to it. And
you were politely very uninterested.
Yeah. But then after a couple more listens, I developed an obsession, and for about the past week and a half, I've been listening to this album multiple times on repeat every day. So we figured it'd be a good one to start on because we've both been really interested in that. Mm-hmm. Tom, you want to give some background on what your thoughts are?
All right. Well, transitioning then into the first review, like Jake said, we're talking about Neon Golden by the Notwist. And the Notwist is a really interesting band. If you've never listened to them, they're one of those bands that I would say there's a lot of bands out there like this. I mean, Beatles, Radiohead, Thrice. Those three bands don't really have a whole lot in common, except for the fact that if you listen through their entire discography, you cannot judge their sound on 3 songs or even 3 albums. I mean, they have so much to offer that you just can't listen to a few songs and say, okay, I've heard all there is to hear. The Notwist they're from Germany, and they started in the late 80s or early 90s as like a hardcore band. Like, you listen to their early stuff and it's really rockin' and really just, not abrasive, but definitely loud and just kind of, what you'd imagine some early 90s rock from Germany to be like. And then somewhere in the mid to late 90s, they kind of softened up and got a little electronic and incorporated that into their sound. And now they've just drastically changed. They've shifted into this completely different band that, for better or for worse, in my opinion, for better, they've become this kind of chill, not quite electronica. There's a lot of electronic components, but the thing I love about it is they mix it with real instruments and a lot of soul. There's a lot of soul behind even the bleeps and bloops that they use, and the way they write their songs.
Sounds like another band we know. Radiohead?
Oh, well, yeah, that I use that comparison for a reason, I guess. But, yeah, so definitely a band with a lot to offer. So, yes, from there, I don't know what you want to say about it.
Well, I guess some of the reasons why I like it, as I just mentioned, Radiohead. Yeah. It's my favorite band. That's where most of my musical influence has stemmed from. Or at least what I'm into nowadays. Not that they're the best band in the world. I personally might think that they are, but everybody has their own favorite band. But the Notwist use a lot of influences and how they form their electronic sounds around there. As Tom was saying, they kind of hybridize between guitars and a traditional rock or indie rock or alternative rock album.
Yeah, like if you check out the title track, Neon Golden, starts with this kind of twangy guitar, or I don't even know, it might even be like a banjo mandolin thing, but whatever it is, it's produced to bring out that twang, and it just adds this reality to it that, or kind of earthiness that other songs on the album don't have. And I'm not saying that they don't have it in a bad way, it's just that it makes that contrast. It brings that contrast and makes the parts where they do that mean even more, because they're not just overdoing it. So that's one thing I really like.
That song was actually the only song the first time I listened to it. It was the only song that I enjoyed. The rest of them I thought were just crap and too simplistic for my taste and too minimalistic for me to really get into. But that song really got me. And the reason was it was because it starts off so eerie and haunting with that twangy mandolin or guitar or whatever they're playing. We actually should probably look that up.
Yeah, we should look that up.
And but then it transitions. It starts building all these electronic effects behind that same guitar part in the chorus line, and it reminds me a lot of the song "Pull Polk Revolving Doors" off of Amnesiac. A lot of the kind of background sounds at the end of that song
good point.
Were kind of the same, very similar in how they and it just gives a really cool effects and it's very eerie, haunting. Like I said, builds the song, and I really liked it. However, I wouldn't say that that's one of my favorites anymore. I mean,
No,
that was the one that got me into
Me
it.
neither. I really like Pick Up the Phone, Solitaire, and Consequence. And then probably This Room. Those are probably my 4 favorites.
Mm-hmm. I would trade This Room for Pilot.
Really?
I like Pilot a lot.
Pilot I like.
That's track 2.
It's good. I'd never skip over it, but something about the pop danciness of it, I don't know. I like the darker vibes on this album a lot more.
And that's probably the reason why I like it, because I really like things that contrasting sounds. I'm digging it.
That definitely serves that function.
and I feel my forte is more songwriting, where yours is probably mood or technicality.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
And so Pilot has this poppy, bouncy kind of very happy groove, but still, it's a driving song. And then there's these guitar crunches in it that just, it just builds this intensity. By the time it hits you in the face with the chorus, you're into it. And I like songs that are willing to reach into you and grab you and then shake you up, and then you're into it. You like it.
And it's a good point what you made about the contrast, because this song it busts right into it out of the first track. One Step Inside Doesn't Mean You Understand is the name of the track, and it busts right into Pilot from the last 2 minutes of the first track, which is just this kind of glitchy, just beat repeated over and over again, but it's really calm and morose.
Yeah, I think it sounds like electronic rain.
Yeah,
like what that would sound like.
Yeah, that's a good point. And so going from that right into the kind of hard-hitting, 2/4 beat of Pilot, it really provides that contrast, and it lets you know right then and there at the beginning of that song the kind of things you're getting into by listening to this album.
Yeah, it's a great thesis statement for the album.
Yes, it is.
And they're not afraid to show you that they're able to do lots of different types of song structures and styles, for that matter.
Yeah.
This album tackles several different styles while still being cohesive in the fact that it's kind of hybridized indie electronic.
Yeah,
which is always good.
With the first track, though, it's a perfect example of how this album, while it will get repetitive at times, at least for me, it never gets boring, which is really, really admirable, because, like I said, the first track, I think there's 5 or 6 lines in the whole freaking song.
Yeah.
And it gets all the vocals out of the way in the beginning, and then it's just this really kind of emotional beat that goes on for the rest of the song, and it's it took me 8 listens before I even realized, hey, there's no singing in the last 2/3 of this song or something, but it's still. Did you have that happen?
Actually, today was the first time that I never noticed that when I was going through trying to take some notes on it to make sure I knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
But I had never noticed it because it flows so well, and then
they just make you not think about those things because they make it work so well.
Yep.